This video shows how to set up the HolidayCoro item 123-24. This is a 24-inch star, and this has a total of 90 nodes or lights, pixels. And this example, we're going to show pixel setup. So if you have done, then it will be different. And let's first start off with the physical layout of the star. First of all, you'll see an arrow pointing up. That indicates this is the up part of the star. You can see little nubs here for attaching things. And this will be printed on your star. And you can see here it says rows 1 through 3 because we have 3 rows here, and we have 90 pixels. And we can see that they're oriented in a 20, 30, and 40 count to end up with a total of 90. Now this is one single string of pixels, and we are going to be sequencing or setting up xLights as that. One single string. Now you could do submodels and some other unique things here, but that's outside the scope of this video. So first thing to do, you need to go over here to xLights. Now I'm going to be setting this up with generic information. It may not be specific to your setup. I'm just going to put in an IP address that might be this controller. I'm going to put in the starting address of the star, and we're going to be using one universe here. And we need to look and see how many channels. I prefer to put the exact number. So if we have 90 times 3, that's 90 pixels times 3 DMX channels. That's 270 DMX channels. So we're going to say that, and we're just going to say star, and in this case, we have our 3 rows, so we have 20, 30, 40. So we're going to put 20, 30, 40. This just helps us keep track of that in the future when we're trying to figure out this IP address, this universe, this particular thing goes where. All right, so now we got that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is not in the context of an overall display. This is just the single model. You'll need to incorporate this model into the rest of your display. So I'm going to go up here to the Create New Star, click on that once with my left mouse button, then just come into my display. Now this might already have your tree or other things on there, so I'm just going to click on there. It doesn't do much. You see that there's a little dot there that may or may not show up the same way in yours. First of all, let's go ahead. We've got here the star. We've got how many strings, this is 1, and how many nodes or pixels, so we know that's 90, and then we have 5 points on our star, which is normal, and this is bottom center clockwise. Now let's go back and look at our star here. So our star appears to be counterclockwise because we start here and then we go to the right and then anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, but that's the back side view. This is where we install our pixels. So we put our pixels in going counterclockwise, but when you flip it over, the actual version of the star will be clockwise. And xLights is working in the front side of the star, so it's looking at clockwise. All right. Now, we also need to put in our layers. So our layers are 20, 30, 40. So let's go back here. We're just going to type the numbers 20, 30, 40. And that tells it how to break up those 90. And of course, if we add those all up, that equals the 90. I'm just going to go over here to Start Channel. I'm just going to explicitly tell it is on this IP address and it is this universe. And you don't have to do that, and there's many ways to do that. All right, so down here we can very precisely locate this, or you can move it after. I'm just going to give it some scale because mine doesn't have any scale right now. I'm going to give it a scale of 10 to 10, so it's even. And there you go. Now we have our star. Now, let's just go over here. I'm going to right-click on this and say Wiring View. And let's just compare our wiring view against the real world. So we see 1. Now, I should mention here, if you look here, it says caution, reverse view. It is reversed. This is the way you wire it because you're wiring it on the back side, which is the way we have it printed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You can see how it loops back around, and then your last pixel, 90, is right here. So if we compare that against our star, what do you know? Exactly the same. See, our last pixel's right here, our first pixel's right here, 90 total. So everything's looking good here. So let's go ahead and close that wiring view, and let's just pretend like we're going to sequence that. So let's go ahead and say New Sequence. Let's just say an animation in this case. So we can get started here. I'm just going to drag our our effect, in this case butterfly. I'm just going to drag it down here with my left mouse button. And here we can see the model preview. So these are the actual star here, the close up, and then this would be its house preview. Now, normally this would be smaller, and your house would be incorporated in there, and maybe you have other items like your tree that you have a star on, or those types of things. So that kind of gives you a overall view. But you can see the effects that are on there, and then you can drag down many different kinds of effects to do different things. And that's how you set up the 3-row star with xLights.